45 minutes right after 12. It's a packed studio already. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about this man for a while. He found his career, his calling by accident, but through hard work and a sense of patriotism, he has been able to warm himself into the hearts of many through the powerful medium of radio. His voice and influence reaches beyond the corridors of power into the very hearts of the masses who call him the Chairman General. Our guest today on the Wiley the Board series this morning is multiple award-winning journalist Kwami Sefa Kayi. And we decided to just grab him here and surprise him. Over the weekend, he celebrated his 50th birthday. And Global Media Alliance, YFM, Goldman Foods decided to surprise him with a beautiful cake. It's Chairman, happy birthday once again. Happy belated birthday. I don't know if it's right we do, the tradition once again. Can we sing, please, guys? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Chairman. Happy birthday to you. Hip, 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 hip. Hooray! Chairman, that is yours. It's all yours. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just begun. Wow. Chairman, an acceptance speech we do. Yes.
Well, I thought I came here for a radio show.
Yes.
I didn't know it had to do with cakes and all. So, YFM, thank you very much. And I like the colors, blue and white.
Wow.
And it says, happy 50th birthday, Chairman General. Officially, I'm an old man. Thank you, guys.
Welcome, sir. And shouts going out to Dear Do Ghana for holding us down on that. He provided a beautiful cake for Chairman General. Which of the days was it? Was it Saturday or Sunday?
It was last Saturday.
It was last Saturday. How did the day go for you?
Well, how did it go? Not bad. So I went out to the SOS Children's Village in Isiakwa last Saturday on my 50th. I've adopted one of the houses there for the children.
Wow.
And so I touched it up a bit. With their permission, I asked them if I could do that. They agreed. And so I put it together a bit. And then I asked them, can I name it after my mother? And they said, yes, why not?
Wow.
So I named it after my dear mother, whose decision it was to have me here 50 years ago. It was primarily her decision. If she decided against that, I'd not be here.
You wouldn't have been.
So I thought on my 50th birthday, why not let me say thank you to her by doing what I did. So there's a small house in the SOS Children's Village in Isiakwa called Mama Safwa House. And that is what it's going to be until we're both no longer here.
Wow, that's a good thing to do, and congrats on that.
Thank you.
That's very thoughtful of you. I watched it live, and her reaction was priceless. I know. She's done so much. She's raised a great man
through the difficult times and all. It didn't come on a silver platter. I was a bit of a truant on a screen.
Good to have you here, by the way. The euphoria is great. I can't really describe it, but it's a pleasure to have you on here. Thanks for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
To Y Leaderboard Series. So, Leaderboard Series is basically YFM's innovative radio programming content to help develop the youth and provide inspiration to all our listeners. Now, stats reveal that Ghana's population is young, with about 61% being 30 years and below. The International Labour Organization, ILO, Youth and Future Work of Survey shows that about 1/3 of the youth in emerging and developing countries view their future work and life with uncertainty. People want to get to Kwami Sefa Kayi's position, but they don't know how to even go about it. And so what we are doing here at the station is to ensure that we invite people who have excelled in various fields, like yourself, to come share their life story with us. Initially, people would say success story, but I believe it goes other ways. It can be sideways. It can be the other side of it before you got to the success bit of yours. Your history or your story. We share all that so that people can pick bits and bits of it to inspire themselves, including myself, as I told you earlier. So it's good to have you on here.
Thank you.
We deem it a big responsibility to get things like this running. Thanks once again for honoring our invitation. We're going to start off by, you've done a great job. I can't stop saying this. You've done so much. Some of us started watching you, following you from Kumasi way back. I would watch Kwami Sefa Kayi on TV, being interviewed. He talked about his radio shows, how, he communicates with people. I took particular interest in the fact that you try to instill a sense of responsibility in the people you meet. People have to be accountable. People need to own up for who they are. I mean, being aware of who they are in totality. So it's great to have you on here. But let's start. I mean, every great man has a genesis, the beginning.
I don't know where to start from because the beginning is. I probably have a lot of beginnings. I don't know whether to start from 50 years ago, 3 or 4 days ago. So as is common knowledge, most people know this. I was born to an army officer father and a broadcaster mother. Obviously, my year of birth, my date of birth is not a secret. Or if you want to say, it's a very open secret.
It's an open secret.
And military father, so stayed in Burma camp for a while. Moved out of Burma camp, came into airport residential area, military accommodation as well. Left there, settled in East Legon a couple of years after my father had died. And then from there, as they say, I launched myself onto the world. I left home before age 25. And as they say, the rest is history. The rest is what has brought me here. Born first of 3 siblings.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I lost my younger brother.
Unfortunate.
He would have been 47 this year. He died at 32. I have a sister, and I have a wife. I have 5 children. I've been very busy, obviously, and so that's what it is. Started school in Burma camp. Went through Tokwapmang school. Finished Tokwapmang school. Did a little stopover at Presec in Legon. Because I bombed my math, I had to come and redo it. Did my 6th form at Workers College. Went to Tamale for my national service. I loved it completely because it was the first time I was going out of Accra that far. Came back, started work at GBC. As a guest artist, a bit on radio, a bit on television, but mostly on television. And then I always say the person who gave me my first lessons in radio, his name is Ekol Budumanuel. He was then working at GBC, probably my senior by 3 or 4 years in age, but a very experienced person at the time. We were doing a youth program at the time called Leaders of Tomorrow.
Wow.
I was a production assistant on it, together with El Ankra, if you know El Ankra.
Yes, I've heard
El Ankra later became a television presenter. Now he was the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. So both of us came there. El came to do his national service. I had finished. And Kobudumano literally held my hands through the very beginnings of radio. I did a little bit of print journalism as well. And then launched full-time broadcasting career with Radio Gold in 95. Radio Gold started transmitting in 96, but I got employed in 95. About 4.5 years down the line, I left, joined Peace FM, been there for 20 years.
20 good years.
Yep. So, along the line, I went to GIJ to do sandwich courses in marketing communications. Moved on from there, did a master's program about 2 years ago in conflict, peace and security at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. So that's about it. 20 years I've been sitting at Peace FM, enjoying what I do.
Wow. Key emphasis on enjoying what he does. I mean, there are a lot of sub stories in between there we'll find out in the course in the course of the interview. But I mean, at a point you wanted to join the army, in your life. What was the main motive behind that zeal, or it was just a childhood, infatuation?
It's like every father is a son's first role model.
That's true.
And as long as you have a responsible dad, and I have no qualms about saying this at all, I had a very responsible father, very dedicated, very disciplined. And so your father is your first hero for a boy. And, where little boys growing up, you see your father wearing military clothes, shoes, shiny shoes, and you get fascinated by it all. You see the guns, you see the cars, you see the sense of discipline.
Yes.
The very, as we say, the very pepe way of life with the military. And it was exciting. And so I'm sure for most of us young boys, growing boys in Burma camp, joining, the armed forces was probably our first love. And for me, it was the same. I actually went as far as trying to do it until my mother tried very much, typical African mother. She did the very best that she could and, veered me off that track. Because then I showed potential. I wrote my first story for a newspaper when I was about 17.
That was your first story?
Yeah, first newspaper story. The Mirror used to have this Mirror stories they wrote. So after O-levels, I wrote the first story to them. And my general flair for writing and media work and reading and research and radio and stuff started very early.
Very early.
Television, same. So my interest was there. I was trying to develop it. I remember the first time I appeared on television, I must have been about 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah, the late Tina Moses then had a program called Children's Own. And my mother used to work in GBC at the time.
Okay.
So they put me there to recite a poem. And I was, a mini star in my school at the time. So I guess my whole personal constitution was veered in that direction. The first time I spoke on radio, I must have been about 10 or so years ago. So about 10 years old, I mean. There's somebody I'm looking for. I wish I'd seen one. His name is George Crabb. The much older folk who know him. George Crabb was a broadcaster, DJ at GBC. And, went to the studios with my mom and he put him on his lap and I spoke into the microphone. I was a kid.
I think we are from the same hometown. George Crabb, yes. Yes.
So,
Sally Crabb's big brother.
So George Crabb. And, well, as a kid, as a child, those things, sometimes they just happen. And you probably don't think about it twice. But it may be the focus your life is going to take. So when I started showing interest in my late teens and very early 20s, and my father had been dead 2 years, and here I was, hot blood, straight from National Service, wanted to enter military academy in 91. My mom, steered me nicely out of it and continued to nurture my interest in media stuff generally. So I went to GBC through my mom's friend, Alex Sefa Kayi. I don't know where he is. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Then I went on television, went on radio. I was doing some acting along the side, went to, all kinds of things. And then I got my first job, full-time job with Radio Gold. And so from there to Peace, from Peace to YFM.
You mentioned something that caught my attention. Yeah. I mean, your dad passed 2 years before you took that decision to go into broadcasting,
No,
right?
I'd always wanted to be a soldier, But I kind of activated that intent.
Okay.
2 years after my father's death. I was 21 now.
Okay.
Finished my national service. And, sometimes, after national service, you either want to go to uni, you want to do this, you want to do that.
It's a little bit of confusion there.
Yeah.
But
I was claiming my man at the time. Charlie, me go this soldier. There was no confusion at all. But slowly, looking back today, my mother was right. Maybe I probably wasn't cut out to be an army officer. So as you said initially, it was probably a boyhood fantasy based on the environment in which I was born, bred, brought up, and all of that. So
you mentioned your dad's demise. How tough was it on you, and how did you cope through that?
Very tough.
That dark
very,
moment?
very, very tough. It was my first experience of death. I was 19 years old, and it was a big shock. My father died 2 days after a car crash.
Wow.
And the day he left, we were talking about everything and nothing. And then he had a crash on a Saturday. I saw him late in the night on the Saturday in hospital. For a growing child. Well, growing I was 19. I was in a child really. I was still a little
legal.
Yeah. But you see your father as one big, strong, macho person. And for the first time in my life, I saw him very vulnerable, lying in a hospital bed with tubes and could barely talk. And so it was difficult to process. Then the Sunday went by the hospital. I remember the Monday morning when he died, the 6th of November 1989. He called the house and said he wanted a radio.
Wow.
And he seemed to have started improving. He wanted his radio brought to him and a few other things my mom took to him. So I spoke to him on the phone. So this must have been about 6:37 in the morning. By 11 he was dead.
Wow.
And I only found out at about 8 p.m. or so, or 9 p.m. So yes, it was a shock. It was a turning point. At that point, you kind of felt there was no backbone anymore. You were on your own, literally. You were on your own. And there were three of us. First is me, then my late brother, my sister, and my mom. That's about it.
You were the eldest?
Yeah.
What? First and foremost, I said my deepest condolence.
Oh, it's been 31 years.
Yes. What lesson did that moment teach you in life as a man, as a human being, as a young guy who was about to venture into the future?
I'm not sure I remember any lesson it taught me at the time. Because it was fresh, it was shocking. I was still in shock. I was like a zombie being ordered about. But, as time progressed, as I came into my own as a man, I looked back and I was like, probably, if he hadn't died, I wouldn't be here. You know, you sometimes try to philosophize and try to make sense out of it all by looking at your own circumstances. People lose their parents and go on to become very successful people. Others lose their parents and that's the end of the world. You know, people have their parents alive and yet cannot make much of themselves. So I probably looked at it differently and said, well, just in case, just maybe, if he was here, I won't be who I am today or where I am today. Maybe his demise at that time was what I needed to shock me into going out there to, you know, look after myself and look out for myself and for my mom and for my siblings and all of that. So I look back on it, even though I have regrets, I thank God that in spite of it all, we've been able to survive it and have come thus far, 31 years. Well, I wish he was here on Saturday. It would be nice to share a beer with him or something, you know, because my father would have been about 80 years old. And it would be nice, you know, that on your 50th, your father is alive, you can have a chat. Because now, you know, as they say, when you're a young boy, you always think your father is wrong.
Yes.
Until your son starts telling you you're wrong. So it's cyclical, it's life, it's the evolution of life. It would be nice to, you know, have had him here, have a chat, and, you know, share ideas, just talk a bit and all that. But hey, it is what it is.
It would have been extra fun and super iconic because then the next day is Father's Day as well.
Exactly.
You know?
It would be, yes, you're so right. It would have been so beautiful. But you can't have it all in life. You learn to live with that.
And as the new saying goes, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Let's move on. I mean, what do you miss most about your childhood? And if given the chance, I mean, what would you change about that period in your life?
What do I miss most about my childhood? Oof, would I remember? I think my childhood was quite exciting.
Okay.
I don't know at what point, you know, from which point to which point would I describe as my childhood. But let me just say from 0 to 18. What would I change? I know for a fact I would not change my siblings. I would not change my parents. I still want to be born in a military establishment. What would I change? Maybe I'd be a bit more sober in my dealings with my parents.
Okay.
Well, you can only be wise after the fact. So I'm sure that if I was born again, I probably would go through the same wahala. But, you know, looking back, I'd have been a bit more sober in my dealings with my parents, especially when your early teen years and you think that child you be guy. You got it all locked down.
A little bit of truancy in there.
You really know nothing about life, you know. But you see, it's a phase of life. So you think that you've arrived and all of that. So maybe I'll be a bit more soft-eared where my parents are concerned. I'll be a bit more studious where my books are concerned. And if I could change it, my father would still be alive.
Wow.
You know, so those are some of the things I'd look at. But for a fact, I will not change my parents, nor my siblings. And I still want to be born in Bemakam.
Were you the only one that took up broadcasting as a career?
Of all my mom's children, yes.
Okay.
Considering the fact that she had only 3, lost one. So just the 2 of us. My sister is also quite a talkative, so maybe if she hadn't gone into corporate world, she probably would
have been the female version of Kwami Sefa Kayi.
Exactly.
All right. Now, you pride yourself very well with your alma mater, Okwapiman Senior High School. I mean, I have seen you on several platforms speaking so well about your days at Okwapiman. What makes your days there very special? I mean, tell us about it. Why is the school so dear to you?
First of all, it's the only secondary school I attended, so I might as well like it. I don't have a choice in the matter. There are people who say, oh, I went to this school, my school is more prestigious than yours. My school is rated A. As a matter, this is where I attended. And as far as I'm concerned, this is where I know. And I better like what I have.
That's what made me.
That's what made me. I mean, I didn't go to your school or this other school. This is the school I went to. And that is how come I turned out how the way. But going to Kwapman, I was 12 years old when I went to Form 1. And it was the first time I was leaving my parents. I was going to boarding school. And, you know, for a 12-year-old, sometimes you think that your parents are being a bit too mean. I mean, why would they throw me out here with all these people? But then I go to school, Form 1 first day. I still remember Friday, 8th October, 1982. And you go there and it's a new world. For the first time, you're going to be sleeping in a dormitory with other boys. And of course, these days I don't know if they still homo chose to first.
Well, I think they barely do.
Well,
thanks to social media, people don't really want to play with that, right?
Lucky them.
I was in senior high school in 2008. But
no, you're making me feel very old now.
No, you're not. I think maybe I'm just too young. No, but then I think they stopped. I think it's nah.
I didn't even go to high school.
Okay.
I went to secondary school.
Exactly. Yours was different, yes.
And so 2008 for me was 1982. And much as some of the seniors overdid it, I think it was looking back today, it was cool. Even though at the time I didn't think it was cool,
Were you huge when you entered?
No, I was a bit tall. Compared to my peers.
Yeah.
I was not the average 12-year-old in terms of height.
Okay.
But I was very lanky. So I wasn't a very huge person. But I was real tall and lanky. And I went into Form 1, made friends. Slowly, maybe after about a week, you get used to it and you begin to like it anyway. And Akropong at the time is not what it is today. Akropong used to be much colder than it is today. For those who know Akropong or the general mountains area, it's cold. Salina is not very cold because there's a lot of development there.
Exactly.
Now. Buildings have come up, roads and what have you. But it was a very cold climate, and it was still exciting. We're growing, we're learning new things. Well, I hope your listeners don't feel offended, but this is the point where you probably start growing pubic hair, you start experiencing with wet dreams, So it was what molded me as a teenager. All the 5 years that I was there, the friends you make, some of them will last for the rest of your life.
Yes.
There are people who you meet in secondary school probably never meet again.
Meet them again.
Next thing you hear, somebody's dead. Or you probably will never just meet again. There are some of them you would forget, but those were formative years that helped us all grow, make decisions, find our strengths in society, find our weaknesses. You think you probably are a sharp brain until you're in a boarding house with somebody you probably didn't look at twice.
Yes.
And then you realize that, Charlie, this guy no book brutal. So it was all a potpourri of various experiences that just helped to shape you and to mold you. And one of the things I liked about boarding school or about the Kwapman school was that you had all kinds of people there, royalty, rich, poor, not poor, but royalty, humble homes, rich people's kids, military, medicine, media, all kinds of people.
Yes.
Northerners, Southerners, Evers, Gas, Ashantis, all kinds of people.
All kinds of people, yeah.
But because you're all thrown in there, you became one family.
Yes.
So it kind of detribalizes you. When you see a guy, you see a guy. You don't see an Ever guy or a Gaga and Ashanti guy. When you see a fine chick, you see a fine chick. You don't see a chick who's Ashanti.
Ashanti or
So you're detribalized.
That's true.
Because the greater project is Ghana. So we're like just a small country on our own with rules and regulations. Some of the masters probably came from all kinds of places and then, left. But one of the things that has kept me connected to Kwapman School is my year group. Okay. My year group is the class of 87.
87?
Yeah. We finished Form 5 in 87. And we've kept our bonds of friendship. We've kept together we eventually came back together sometime in 2004, even though there were splinter groups, because everybody has a best friend in school.
That's true.
So after school, maybe Kwekwe is my friend, Kwekwe and Kwami, so we are like a small group of people. Ajwa, Mansa, and Doris are also friends elsewhere. But we managed to bring the entire group together. It took a while, but we finally did it. So we have actually 3 different groups. We have Ghana, we have UK, and then we have the US. So
from your year group?
Yeah, from our year group.
Okay.
And we've kept our bonds together. We may not see each other often, but at least we have social media that keeps us going. We have a platform, we have a forum where ideas are shared. We try to keep our bonds. We try to give back to the school. And so far it's worked. I guess that's why I make a lot of noise about my school.
Sometimes, I mean, I listen to Kwami Sefa Kayi and I get the edge to speak more about my school. I mean, I went to Kumasi Anglican and
Talk about it, man. Kumaka.
in Accra, no, Kumaka is Kumasi Academy.
Kumasi Academy.
Kumasi Anglican is CAS.
Oh, CAS.
Yes.
Is that where Sampine teaches?
Yes, Sampine was my English teacher.
Aha, there
yes.
you go.
And so, I mean, I feel like, let me talk about it because I came to Legon, I mean, right from Kumasi, and people are mentioning the Accra CAS, they are mentioning the Achimota schools, and then, I mean, you say Kumasi Anglican, and it's
Kumasi Anglican,
school, man.
But you see,
what's that?
You came from Kumasi Anglican all the way to University of Ghana, Legon. You're a story for somebody to look at.
Yes.
And say, sometimes you don't have to have soft beginnings.
That's true.
Or seemingly soft beginnings. You don't have to have quote unquote acceptability by society.
That's true.
To make a difference. As long as you're able to follow your dream, you would shine at the end of the day. And somebody will look up to you and say, I'd like to be like this guy.
That's true.
And every time I have people tell me that, I say, don't be like me, be better than me. Yes, I mean, strive to be better than me. For me, this is about, I don't know where I'm going next because I don't think I've arrived anywhere.
That's true.
I just think that it's the evolution of life. There are stages. This is the stage I am at now. I probably may go beyond this. You never know. So in your dream, in your aspiration to rise, to do good, yes, I may be your benchmark, but rise above.
Rise above. That is priceless piece of advice. I mean, you'll never get this anywhere. That's why we're having it right here on Wiley the Board series. Shout's going out to people locked in, though. I think it was a wrong idea mentioning the time I entered senior high school. People are coming at me. I mean, I'm not that young. Kojo Kotobuatin is locked into the show. Good afternoon.
Oh, good. That's one of my brothers.
Yes. He said I should call him uncle now when I meet him. I shouldn't call him Kojo.
Kojo, if he should call you uncle, what would you call me?
Grandpa, probably. Now, let's talk about family. I mean, when we talk about you performing your duties, your popular quote is, it's duty to God.
Service to God.
Service to God, exactly. How do you juggle your duties for God and, of course, the country Ghana, and then family life and your responsibilities as a family man?
You know, it's one of them would suffer.
Okay.
And sincerely, I think I am not there for my family all the time. Not because it is deliberate. When you do the kind of work I do, I'm up at 4 in the morning, 4:30 at the latest, Monday to Friday. I've been doing it for, what, 25
years, yeah.
Yes. And so I started off when I was a bachelor. And by the time I had gotten married, I was used to this kind of lifestyle. So I try. But even if I'm marking my own script, I think I'm just about average. Could be better by several miles. So, well, it is what it is. I try to make that effort. I try to make the time. Every time I can make the time, I try to connect, especially my children. But I think that is a department I need to work hard on. It's tough, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Now, you have a wonderful family, I must say. A few days ago, I think somewhere around either Saturday or Friday, a video of you and your wonderful daughter exchanging pleasantries popped up on social media. I mean, you mentioned that you don't really do well with them, but tell us, break it down. How is your relationship like with your kids? I mean, do they call you Chairman General?
They call me anything they like. Actually, my kids call me Papa.
Okay.
And that is how they're supposed to call me. One of my children calls me Bestie. The last two call me Papsi.
Okay.
My son calls me what he likes, Chairman General, Papa. It depends. When he needs money, he will call me Papa. When he wants to try and con me, he's like, hey, Chairman General. You know? And my daughter you saw in that video, video is like 2 years old. I wonder who found it.
Wow.
She was trying to get me to do Snapchat with her. I said, look, I don't understand these things, man. And she says, okay, this is my Snapchat. You say anything you want to say on it. So I think that much as I'm not there all the time, I have quite a healthy relationship with them. I encourage them to talk to me about anything and everything. I'm a bit of an unconventional dad. I can have any conversation with my children, especially when it concerns them. For me, we didn't have that upbringing as children.
Yeah.
And so I'd hear from my daughter or my son than I'd be shocked into it. And so, especially the one you saw on that Snapchat. Fafa, yes, that's my first child. We have our own relationship. And so far, I think it's worked well. I don't think I'm the perfect father. I don't think she's the perfect daughter. But I think that we've built our own relationship nicely. With my son, Malto, too, is the same. With my daughter, who has stopped, now she calls me bestie. I don't know what to best. 15-year-old.
It's a new word.
15-year-old, you tell me I'm your bestie. You know. But, you know.
The best friend goes.
Exactly. So she and I also have our own. And then the one after her, Senna, and then my pension baby, who is 7 years old. So I have from 22 down to 7.
Down to 7.
And so far, so good.
Tell me about your day, a regular day for Kwami Sefa Kayi. You said you wake up at 4 a.m. What next? What do you do when you wake up?
4 a.m., go through the usual things that everybody does in the morning. Bomb the small room, take a shower, and on your way to work. Get to work. Most of the time, my production team and I have a conversation going on. I mean, you do radio too, so I'm sure you know there are issues that some of the issues are running issues.
Yes.
So there are some issues that you know would come up definitely. You read on some of them a bit. Now research is so very simple.
Very,
you guys
very
are much luckier than when we started.
Well, thanks to social media.
Yeah, Charlie. When we started, especially from the transition from GBC to Radio Gold, the first time I saw and operated a computer was in 1995.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I was looking at the thing like some mini TV, and then they say, "Hey, press the escape button, press this," and look, it was a big deal, big deal. And those days, I remember the entire Radio Gold had about 2 computers in the newsroom. That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, this is 95, 96. We're talking 25 years ago.
And it was still a new idea.
Yeah, it was a new idea. And so you get to the office those days and you have to go up to the newsroom and try and punch stories and find out. And that time the only major news source beyond BBC was GNA, Ghana News Agency.
Ghana News Agency, yes.
So you go to the GNA website and try and get stories and find out what's going on, read the papers quickly. But these days it's easy. It's on your phone. You know, so that's why I say you guys are luckier. It's on your phone, you just press a button and then
go.
You want research, you go on to Google. There was no Google at the time.
Yeah.
You know. So those times you are from work, you may want to drive to George Padmore Library in Ridge, sit down and actually read. You know, probably read stuff from about 3-4 books, and there were no mobile phones to call anybody. You know, all those things. So technology has helped our work a lot. It's made it simpler. Wake up in the morning, get out of the house, listen to the radio as on my way to work, get to work, turn your computer on, check out which stories, which ones you want to follow up. You're in touch with your production team. You almost know what kind of day you're going to have on air. Prepare for it. Hit the airwaves. Say a prayer. Turn your microphone on. And let's do this, you know.
Do you ever sit and tell yourself, okay, I wish I had been born, you know, in this tech era, you know, instead of when I was born? Because when you look at these things that are like the upper hands for us, do you ever think to yourself that?
I have no regrets about when I was born.
Never?
Nope.
Not even one time?
You see, every generation comes with its own stuff.
Great.
And so you guys would never experience what I've experienced.
That's true.
And so I will not trade what I've experienced for yours. You guys, you have taught us this thing. You're sitting out with people and everybody's on their phone. What kind of life is that?
I'm actually doing it now.
What's that? You know, we didn't have phones.
So you'd have to talk.
You talk. You start a conversation. You know, there's so much to talk about. And these days, you can have a friend and you haven't seen them in 2 years, but you're in touch because of WhatsApp and what other things. But those days, when you're going to see your friend, there's no phone to call. You walk.
Yes.
You take a walk, go to their house. If they are there, fine. If they are not, too bad. Try another friend.
Risky.
Yeah, try another friend. And that is what it was.
I mean, the era of letters, writing letters.
We wrote letters.
If you want to make
went to the post office.
Yes, you go to Ghana Telecom.
Yeah, Ghana Telecom. If you want to do an IDD, if not, Charlie, go to, you know. So I won't trade that because it was a good learning experience.
Yes, that's true.
And it's helped me to appreciate what we have today. Because I look back then. That's why I say you guys are like. I look back and wow. But in reverse. the human feeling, the human touch is gone.
That's true.
We've become very cold. You know, where the gadgets do everything for us.
We look and feel programmed.
Yes, we're straight-jacketed in a way.
That's true.
We've become slaves of technology. Even though it helps facilitate things, you know, smoothing things, helps us with a lot of stuff, we've become enslaved to it in a lot of ways. It is good, yes, but it's disconnected us a bit from that human touch that when I was growing up was there. You know, when you liked a girl, you actually wrote her a letter, man.
You had to
go
through the books. I mean, words, no?
Yeah.
I remember back then, I mean, my time was not, that far. But I mean, we had the likes of people selling books, you know, love-inspired books with love words, ones that you can employ when you want to write a letter to. And my time was even easier. I mean, I just tried to push my mind into your space and see how it is. It's not easy. It's not an easy job.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I won't trade it for yours either. Because I enjoyed the experience. And as I said, it makes me appreciate what we have today.
You discovered your talent for radio by accident and went to train for it. You could have, you know, depended on your talent right from the onset and probably still made it on radio. Just how essential is it to be a talent? I mean, to blend talent and the right training for who you're supposed to be.
You know, talent is good, as they say. But relying on your talent alone won't get you anywhere. You need to hone your skills. You need to develop your skills. You and I were just talking about the fact that when I was growing up, it was a different environment from what pertains today. And I was just telling you that in the radio when we began, there were probably just 2 computers in the newsroom.
That's true.
Now, life has evolved. So life is a constant learning curve. You cannot sit in one place and say you rely on your talent. Not in this kind of environment. You need to self-develop.
That's true.
That I'll tell you any day for free. You're doing a good job. You have a good voice. You have the flair for speaking. You have the flair for writing. People have, you know, told you good things about yourself. Don't let it get to your head. Don't. Continue. Develop yourself. Look for new avenues to make you better. Look into other areas where you probably don't have a strength. Try new things. Become knowledgeable in other areas. It should be, life evolves. So don't be static. I remember several years ago I was having a talk, having a chat with some much younger people. I was part of the Springboard series by
Albert Okran?
Yeah, Reverend Albert Okran. I did part of the Springboard series. I did Tamale, Cape Coast, Kofodia, Ho, and a few places. And one of the subjects I chose, or one of the themes I spoke on, I said, keep on moving. You are not a tree. It is only a tree that stays in one place. And you notice that even the tree staying in one place, when you pour water on it or you nurture it, the branches grow. So even the tree stands in one place and still stretches out.
Yes.
So you are a human being. Move on, develop, evolve, learn new things. Don't rely on your talent alone.
Refresh your ability.
Refresh your ability. Thank you for the expression. Refresh your ability. So that, because what I knew 20 years ago is not what it is today.
That's true.
You know. So, I mean, when we started radio, you could not use a mobile phone to report live on radio. It was inconceivable. But today, it's easy. So if I said I was going to stay in that thinking, probably would have become a dinosaur by now.
Chairman, a friend of yours was listening and wants to join in the conversation. I mean, I think he has a few words to share with you. I'm not going to mention his name. He's on the line. I'm just going to allow him to introduce himself. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Kwami Sefa Kayi is on the line. He's actually in the studio. Sorry. Talk to him.
Right. Chairman General.
Yes, sir.
This is E.T. Akono.
Hey, Minia.
Surprise. Minia.
No, this is a big surprise. This is a good one.
Kwame and I go back many years.
Wow.
From the days of Radio Gold, where I was doing some small consulting work, to handling the Ghana Music Awards from 2001 to 2004. And then he also was my MC on my 50th.
Wow.
So I thought it nice to reciprocate the gesture by just calling him surprised.
Wow, and he's surprised.
Yes, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Mr. Akono,
yes,
tell me, what has he changed from the time you knew him till now? I mean, the time you guys met till now.
Straightforward gentleman. Not because he's at the studio, but I've always stood by him through thick and thin. And in fact, my late dad was also one of his fans. And unfortunately, he had to do the unusual by announcing his death when he passed 4 years ago. So these are landmarks that we can't forget. But Kwame is a very straightforward gentleman and forthright. He knows what to do when he has to do it. And generally a brother, at least to me.
E.T.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for talking to us.
Thank you very much. And I wish him many more years of success.
Yes, we always.
I said to him that welcome to the club of old young men.
Yeah.
Or young old men.
Young old men. I think the latter would do.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful day.
All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
How did you meet him?
How did I meet E.T.? Can I even remember? I met E.T. about 23-4 years ago. You know, he's a tax person.
Yes.
He's a sharp mind when it comes to tax and tax issues, finance issues and all that. And he was doing some consulting with Radio Gold. And, you know, every now and again he would pass through. Then I think he was with, was it PricewaterhouseCoopers or KPMG? I always get those things confused.
I think it's KPMG.
KPMG. Yeah. And the following year, 2000, I became one of the first MCs for the Ghana Music Awards, and KPMG was the auditor for the results. And almost every year he would come and do the presentation, and so we kept our relationship going. And so from there, then we had common friends also. So we kind of like drifted apart for a while, and then we reconnected again. And if you know E.T. very well, he's also a very easygoing, bubbly kind of person.
Yes.
So when we reconnected, we just picked up the pieces and continued from there. And
it was smooth.
Yeah, very smooth. So for the last maybe falling apart, we didn't fall apart. We kind of drifted apart.
Yes, drifted apart.
Drifting apart was probably for a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and then we just reconnected, and then we continued as if nothing had happened, and we've remained like that for another 15 years or so.
Wow. When we reached out to him, he was super ready to, share his beautiful moments.
E.T. is a great guy. He's a great guy. He's the kind of person that you can call and say, bro, can I talk to you for a moment? Hey, he's that kind of person.
He'll make time for you.
Oh, yeah, he's a great guy.
You were part of the first generation of radio personalities, during the early days of, deregulation of the airwaves.
That's true.
From the time it used to be government-owned.
Just GBC.
Yes, exactly, just GBC till now. How significant is it for you knowing that you were part of this history?
Well, I hope that posterity will be kind on me one day. But looking back now, I'm sure that I'd salute Dr. Charles Rekubrobe.
Yes.
And all of them who took that very bold decision to test the system and came up with Radio I in 1994. That was the beginning of the revolution of the media landscape, especially with broadcasting and radio in particular. And so Joy FM came in 95, Radio Gold came in 96, and then, Vibe FM, Groove FM, and, it kept going on and on and on and on. Looking back, being part of that era fills me with pride that I was there at that watershed moment where history was being made.
That's true.
We probably didn't think that it will become what it is today, but it's a very good feeling. And maybe from my generation at that time, it's probably left with just me and Doreen Ando. I don't know who else is around, especially for those of us on radio.
Yeah.
So we become like the Mogabis, if you like. Doreen and I. Yeah, I think it's just left with Doreen.
Wow.
Just the two of us.
Beautiful memories.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, especially when, Samens too. Samens was more into administration than on air, so especially when you look at how it has evolved when it was just a few stations
Yes.
that ruled the roost to now having all these stations. I mean, YFM carved a niche for itself,
Yes.
Peace FM carved a niche for itself, other stations have come through. So it feels good to be part of this whole evolution because I saw it from the very beginning up until now. It's a good feeling.
Do you think if the team that led this revolution had not taken the bold step they took, things would have still been like it is now? Would it still have come at a point?
I don't think so. I don't think so because if you know what the dynamics involved were, the government of the day wasn't willing to freely give it away.
That's true.
It had to take bold men and women to step to the plate and say, look, we're going to have to do this. Maybe it would have come much later, but it wouldn't have come when it did. So I don't think that if, Dr. Rakubo and the rest hadn't done what they did. I remember in Parliament he was described, that's how he got his nickname, Tarzan.
Okay.
Yeah. That they thought that this was a lawless country and they could just get up and do things like in the jungle. And because he was the lead voice of that at the time, they said, well, he's behaving like some Tarzan. So we've come a long way. Well, I'm happy that now the plurality is so on, everybody can pick up a microphone, use radio
And do their
station.
own thing.
Yeah,
carve a niche market for themselves.
Yeah, it didn't come on a silver platter at all.
When you were mentioning the brands that came out after Revolution, you mentioned Radio I, right?
Radio I started it, yeah.
I spoke to Madam Joyce Aye about a month ago, right here on the same seats, and she mentioned that it wasn't Radio I, it was Radio Yeah. Did you also know about this?
Never did. I'm
Never
hearing
did.
for the first time.
Well,
But it's been referred to as Radio I by everybody else.
Okay.
So I'm actually hearing this for the first time.
time.
They probably may have set out to do Radio A, but
Along the line,
it became Radio I.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember their jingles. I think their jingles referred to Radio I anyway.
Well, from your early days at Radio Gold, did you ever envision such diversity in what we have on here? I mean,
No.
when you started,
No.
apart from the revolution, when you got
No.
into Radio Gold,
Trust me, no. I remember when Peace FM started, one of the things that a lot of people said would go against them was the rather bold or daring attempt to broadcast in Chi or in Akan. It was seen as sacrilegious. I mean, how
Yes.
can you broadcast?
Who does that?
Who does that? So, but it was part of the evolution and the revolution that was going on. Even YFM. When YFM began, YFM is pretty much fresh or new. I
11
don't know how
years.
old YFM is. But
11 years.
11 years.
Yes.
I mean, considering, a lot of names had come in and had found a niche for themselves. It was like, Bahood, youth radio. Well, now,
On a bit here.
yeah, who's going to put adverts on it? But you see, it was a target that somebody had recognized. And niche market says, look, let us do something to cater specifically
For this particular crowd.
group of people. Their kind of music, their kind of events, their kind of shows,
Content.
their kind of content that is relevant to them. And that is a constantly churning line of people every time. Because assuming that your bracket is, let's just say, 15 to 22 or even 15 to 25.
Yeah.
There'll be somebody at 14 who's going on to 15. You go on to 16. So you have your niche. In the beginning, we didn't think this would happen. A few have tried to do strictly sports. It hasn't exactly worked. But I am sure with time,
It will.
it would, with time. Even if it is that we don't have a station totally dedicated, we could have a channel, maybe television channel.
Yes,
Totally
for that.
dedicated to sports. And so radio can also achieve that. We didn't think that it would get this far. Well, I didn't think so. I didn't envision that it will get to this point. And so I'm excited by the new things that come up every day. It's pretty good.
Journalism has evolved over time, even more so with advent of digital technology.
That's true.
You have stayed relevant, I must say this, and it's really impressive. You've stayed relevant through
Right.
the years till date. I mean, what has been the key to this success, and what can young people out there, like myself, especially journalists, to do to stay professionally, that's the word, professionally relevant and consistent? Longevity.
I'll pick one word from what you said. You use the word success. I think success is very relative.
Okay.
If probably we pinch ourselves every now and again, would realize that we're not that successful after all. When we begin to realize that every point is a stage, it should not get to your head. You have not arrived. You are better today than you were yesterday. It doesn't mean that you are the ultimate.
That's true.
So, constant dedication to duty. Dedication to duty so that you don't feel that you've become a star. You don't feel that you know it all. Dedicate yourself. Improve upon yourself. Increase knowledge. Learn from others. As much as possible, be at peace with yourself. I remember when my father told me, maybe at about age 17 or so, he kept saying something that life is not a race. The only person you are racing with is you.
Is yourself.
You are in no race with anybody. But the fact that the only person you're racing with is you should not make you laid back. The fact that you're racing with yourself should be the impetus that should tell you that you want to strive to be better tomorrow than you were today. Beyond you, you are not in a race with anybody. So those are some of the things that probably have kept me going. I am not in a race with anybody. Many will be appreciated. So much as I am content with what I have or where I am, I strive to improve on what I have or where I am. And you keep going. You keep going. But discipline, maturity, devotion, dedication to duty, realize the fact that this is a job you're doing. Apart from the fact that you enjoy doing it, it puts food on your table. It gives you relevance. Take it seriously, because this is all you know how to do. You know. So those are some of the things that I'd look at.
Still with extra interest in hard work, or on the topic of hard work, and I mean building yourself as a person with regards to your craft. You've interviewed so many people. I mean, you've spoken to political figures, you've spoken to renowned entertainers and so on. I mean, in your opinion, what makes a good conversation between an interviewer and a guest, you know, in our profession, in our circle?
I think, first of all, you need to do some research on the person you're going to have a chat with.
Okay.
It's extremely important. I'll tell you something, one of my biggest blunders, I don't know if it's a blunder, but the first person I interviewed on Radio Gold, was Hugh Masekela.
From South Africa.
Yeah. 6th March 1996.
You remember the date?
Yeah. That was the day Radio Gold officially started broadcasting. It was a Wednesday. And so my first interviews was Hugh Masekela and Amachi Dede.
Okay.
I knew about Amachi Dede, yes. I mean, read about him a bit. I knew about Hugh Masekela a bit. Don't forget those days, there was no internet really.
At all.
You know, you had to go, that time, I think it was Africa Online or so. I can't remember the name of the company. I think it was Africa Online that was providing internet service. And sometimes you go and you have to, you know, the one that you dial.
Yeah.
So you hear going,
internet dial-up. Yeah, that's true.
It takes forever. So you just try and gather as much information as you can. So I remember we're having a wonderful conversation. And then at a point, I asked Hugh Masekela, you know, he was married to Miriam Makeba at the time.
Yes.
And so I said, what is the kind of relationship you have with Miriam Makeba now? And anybody who knows Hugh Masekela knows that he's a blunt.
He's a blunt. Say it as it is.
And he says, oh, we have a good relationship. And I'm just so, how does he feel about her romantically now that they're no longer together? He says, young man, I don't ask you who you sleep with. You have no business asking me who I sleep with. And this was on Air Live.
My God.
And I was like, did I ask a stupid question? Did I ask the right question? Apparently, Hugh said it in jest.
Oh.
He was having a good time. But because I was a bit intimidated by who he was, I didn't know how to take it. So I just scratched my head. Then he burst into laughter. Oh, he says, I got you. You know?
Wow.
And we had a good laugh. But you asked the question and I brought this so that an interview, a conversation, first of all, do a little research about the person. And depending on why or how the format of your show is, if it's a lifestyle show like this one,
Yes.
it's laid back, it's relaxed. So you have to drive that.
Yes.
If you have a good guest, you have a good conversation.
Like you.
If you have a bad guest, you are in trouble. You know. So it depends on the format of the program that will determine the way it flows. I remember an interview, the person I won't mention because he's still quite relevant in Ghana today. At the time, I was the first person who put him on radio.
Okay.
He was a successful businessman at the time. And he wasn't very comfortable going on radio. I coaxed him over a month, put him on radio. And when you ask him, how was your day? He says, good.
That's it.
Yeah. This is a 1-hour show. I said, so how did you start your business? Well, I prayed to God. It was hard work. And we thank God.
My God. And then you're counting like 59 minutes,
Maza,
24 seconds
today
more.
we'll laugh.
Yes.
But it wasn't a laugh.
It wasn't easy.
This was 98, I think.
And people are still new to this whole
People were still into this
lifestyle.
whole thing. And this man wasn't willing to come on radio in the first place. It took a lot of talking to get him to come.
To grab him in there.
He comes and he just gets mic fright. So he's sitting there. And so how many children do you have? 4.
Wow.
How did you meet your wife? Oh, we go to church together. You know those kind of answers?
Yes.
And I'm looking at my time. And by the time I had run through my questions, I had about a clear 35 minutes left on the clock. And this is live radio. You know how it feels like.
Wow.
So as we're going towards, I realized that this thing's going to be tough. So I shelved my adverts. I was going to use my adverts as a buffer.
Yes.
Yes, so I shelved my adverts, I shelved my LPMs, everything. I said I use it as a buffer because I was afraid. Truth be told, by the time I had run through my questions, I had about 35 minutes. So I played my first set of adverts. Then once the adverts were played, we were having a chat, behind the scenes. We came back, I said, so what kind of music do you like? Oh, anything gospel.
Oh.
And then I learned about 3 gospel
songs for him.
And so beyond gospel, don't you like High Life, Amachi Dede, George Daku, Kojo Intri? They were the tops at the time. So not really anything gospel. I played 3 gospel songs back to back, man. I had to fill the time.
Yes, you had to. I mean, you had to create that show for him.
I play 3 gospel songs. So then in the middle of playing, then I'll just, turn the microphone on again. How's it going? Do you want to say hello to somebody? So to my wife and to my staff and to my children. He won't even mention anybody's name, Charlie.
Would you describe this interview as your most memorable?
Well, not most memorable, but it taught me a lot.
It taught you a lot.
It taught me a lot. Also because I probably did not provide an avenue enough for him to be relaxed, or it is that he just is an introvert.
That's true.
And doesn't want to talk about himself. And don't forget, it took a while to get him to come in. So he probably was doing all this under duress. Or maybe he wanted to talk, but he got intimidated. As you
That's
said,
true.
a lot of
Mike
people
Fright,
are new to all of this. Mike Fright, and he had never been on radio. And here I was, one young journalist sitting there trying
to grab information from
prying into his life. And so a good conversation, a good interview depends on a lot of things. These 2 examples plus other examples that other people can tell you about. Depends. If you're lucky, you get a good conversation. If you're not lucky, you're going to have a bad day. I don't know if you know President Hastings Kamuzu Banda, formerly the late of Malawi.
Yes, Malawi.
Very, very highly educated man, very opinionated. He went to school sometime in Ghana, set up a practice in Kumasi before he became president in Malawi. And he was on 60 Minutes on CBS, I think, in the US. And he's a bit of an arrogant man, very well educated man who knows everything. And he just sat there 60 minutes. In about 15-20 minutes, the interviewer was tired because he was being very cheeky and annoying, a kind of Robert Mugabe character. And then you throw it back, and those are the white lady
super defense. Yes.
So you just throw it back at you and make you feel that you're not even qualified to interview him.
That's true.
Those things can also challenge you as an interviewer. At that point, I don't know what you.
But I mean, I think your reaction to that, your response to that, is what makes it good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's pause on for a minute. I mean, today the surprises are plenty.
Don't tell me you called somebody too.
A young lady wants to talk to you. Hello?
Hi,
That's my
boo.
daughter. Who's your boo?
Papa, how are you?
Hi, boo.
Did you hear that?
Papa,
Yes, please.
we have daddy in the building. No, so Fafa calls you what, Pops or
Did you just hear what she called?
Boo? Fafa, you call daddy Boo.
Yes, it depends on how I'm feeling at the time.
How are you feeling now?
Excited.
Excited. Fafa, tell
Yeah.
us. I mean, we know Daddy, we know Pops, we know Kwami Sefa Kayi as the renowned radio broadcaster. You know, the people's person. But at home and to you, who is he?
He's a regular guy. I don't see him as the star everybody sees him to be. So I find it very weird when people are all over him and stuff like that. So I've grown to get used to it. Because I see him every day. I know him when he's off air. I know him behind the cameras. So it's normal. I don't see him to be any extravagant person. But then luckily for me, he works in the field that I want to pursue my career.
Okay.
So he's like a role model to me in that area. I always look up to him and I always want to be better than him. And he keeps achieving more things, so
he keeps achieving more
the
things.
card.
When you guys are home, I mean, do you approach him with things that has to do with the profession? Do you ask him questions beyond he being a father, as you mentioned, like role model? Do you go to him and say, how do I become a presenter?
Yeah, I ask him we even talk about politics.
Okay.
Yeah, we talk about everything. Anything I want to know, I ask him because he's right there, so why not?
Are you able to walk with him in public, in town? Don't you get tired of people coming to say hi and taking pictures with him?
Oh, I do.
You do.
I do. Trust me, I do.
Wow.
But like I said, I'm used to it, so.
I mean, we have Daddy right here with us. The entire country is listening. He's on White Leaderboard Series. He's here to inspire the youth, people out here. I mean, from you to Daddy, I mean, any special words for him? Anything you've been wanting to say to him that you'd want to say today?
Boo.
Yeah, what's up?
I love you so much. And I know you worked really hard for my siblings and I, and we really appreciate you. I know there's not something we usually tell you, but we really appreciate you and thank you so much for everything. You find time, you try your best to find time to be with us. I like how you are like the perfect father, because I can talk to you about anything, anything at all, and it's wonderful. Not everybody has a father like that, so thank you.
Fafa, Daddy had a lot of cakes over the weekend, but we just gave him a big one. So when he comes home, try and then catch up with him and enjoy your piece, okay?
I will.
And thank you so much for speaking to us. All right.
Thank you too.
All right. Yeah.
So that answers your question about all my kids call me.
Yes, I mean,
There you go.
she just reaffirmed that for us. I mean,
that she calls
you have a beautiful family, I should say, honestly.
I'm grateful for my family. I think I have adorable children.
Yeah.
I have a loving wife. And so it's not as if it's a perfect family. It's not.
Yeah.
We all have our flaws, our downsides that we bring to it. But all in all, I think that I'm blessed. Very blessed. Very, very blessed. I believe so.
I like that.
I mean, how many fathers will get their daughters call me boo?
There's a few.
We didn't try the
Obi to me friend Papa Daddy po.
Well, because I try to create that environment for them. I try to make them feel that, look, I remember Fafa when she was maybe in her mid-teens, or maybe early teens. I mean, there was a day that she got upset. She said, Papa, why is everybody around you? What's the problem? She couldn't deal. This is my father. What is all this, you people? I said, well, it's because of the kind of work I do. But as she grew older, she came to understand that, well, unfortunately, I share you.
And I mean, she shared that she shares similar interests in that. I mean, that's the field she wants to work in. So I think now she will definitely understand how it is.
Yeah, she's almost a 22-year-old now, so
she'll get there.
She'll get there. She'll get there. Slowly, she'll get there.
You've been with Despite Group of companies for a long time. I mean, you mentioned somewhere around 20 years.
2000.
I'm sure in the course of your staying with Despite, you've had a lot of offers from other brands.
Well, not a lot, a few.
A handful. What has kept you loyal to the brand, and for the many upcoming ones, like myself, who look up to you, what is your advice on loyalty, in their journey ahead?
Loyalty is extremely important, but not blind loyalty. That's the difference. I mean, at a certain point, you should be able to tell whether it is that your loyalty is rewarded or not, and what options you have. And you exercise those options. If your loyalty is rewarded on a scale of 0 to 10, if your loyalty is rewarded, say, up to about 7 or 8, you're in very good company.
Yeah.
And so loyalty is not blind. Loyalty has to be rewarded. That is 1, 2. You don't just get up and say, the grass looks greener on the other side. If the grass is greener, so is the water bill. So you don't just get up and do things. And then also, if you have good people you can fall back on when it comes to seeking advice, it helps you as you go. The Despite brand or the Despite group has been my home for 20 years. I have no regrets. Of course, like every human being, I wish my salary was more than I earn.
Yes.
It's a human thing. Nobody's satisfied with how much they earn.
Yes.
I'm sure that everybody wants more. But looking beyond that, there's a certain family spirit there that I love. And I don't know. I guess I'm going to be there for the rest of my life, for as long as I remain on radio. Well, they say in life you never say never, but you never know.
Well, that's it. Guys, so the conversation is still on. Hashtag Why Leaderboard Series, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're live on all these platforms, Y1079 FM. If you're locked in now, you'd like to see Chairman General. I love this. I love the shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean, after the president delivers his speech, people ask him, what's
the meaning of that?
What's the meaning of
I have no idea.
You have no idea. You just know it's nice.
This one has what? Like cowries or something? I just know it's a nice
things I see at the beach, I'm sure. I think it's one of those things. But it looks good, though.
Thank you.
It looks good. I think your choice of fabric on point all the time.
I try.
You try.
I'm a gentleman. Well, I have a few people who sew for me.
Okay.
But the one who easily leads the pack is a gentleman called Yusuf Mahama.
Okay.
Harmony Trends.
Nice. Big ups going out to you, Harmony Trends.
Yeah, so Harmony Trends does that for me. And so far, so good.
All right. I see all of you guys sending in love on our Facebook, Y1079 FM. Of course, if you have a question, please put in the hashtag Y Leaderboard Series. I'll pick a few of them for Chairman General, as the show goes on. Let me find your thoughts on, leadership and a few things. Accountability, I mentioned that earlier, and responsibility are two of the gospels you preach, often in your line of duty. I mean, critically speaking, do you think Ghana, the people, do you think we have failed as a people to hold our leaders accountable? Have we failed?
I don't think we have failed. I just think that we probably are not pushing hard enough.
Okay.
We have Parliament to help us. We have the media to help. We have other state institutions to help. As to whether we have successfully executed all of that, I don't know. But quite obviously, there's a certain deficiency along the line. Don't forget that as long as there's a system of governance, there'll be loopholes that people can exploit. I don't think any country in the world can say 100%.
That's true.
That we've held our leaders to account for every single action they've taken. But luckily for us, we have state institutions, we have the fourth estate of the realm, to help us all in seeking answers. We have civil society organizations as well. So, all in all, if you look at the entire, landscape, we have what it takes to hold our leaders accountable. As to whether it is that they themselves feel accountable to us is something else. I mean, recently we've been talking a lot about monetization in our politics, especially looking at the recent MPP Congress, the primaries, I mean. It's cyclical. This morning on Kokroko, Kwekubaku was helping us with, the history of it. It started in the 50s. It's unfortunately for us, because we like to so politicize everything, we'll straitjacket it into either NDC or MPP.
That's true.
But MPP people are Ghanaians, NDC people are Ghanaians. So it is a Ghanaian, it's our culture, it's like it's an innate thing that we've grown up with. And if we have evidence from the 50s all the way till today, it just tells you that it is probably we are just inherently corrupt people. And the question is asked that when you see a minister or you see a high-ranking government official, you expect them to where do they get it from?
It's your money.
It's your money. So how do you expect that they will have that nokufio readily available for you? And if they don't, this is my wicked power.
I no go vote for him.
So we even use the ballot as a bait, So
I mean,
we'll do what we can.
It goes back to say honestly, I feel we have failed. Because these same people, I don't
want to use the word fail. When you say fail, all of a sudden it's like
we've given up?
We've given up.
Okay.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay.
I leave a small window of hope. Maybe not in my lifetime. Maybe in my daughter's lifetime, in my son's lifetime, your child's lifetime. I don't think we should give up on our country, because those who lay down their lives for us today did it because they didn't give up. Some of them died in the process. Some of them lost their families. Some of them lost their lives. Some of them lost their money. Some of them lost their businesses. But they believed in the bigger picture in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It is the reason why we're here today. So much as it may seem doom and gloom, I'd rather we don't shut the door. We should just leave a small crack. We may not go through that crack, but posterity may find that, they messed up, but they put this in place, they put that in place. Can we strengthen these things to ensure that we have what we probably think that we should have as a people? So I will not say we failed.
All right, let's move on to some more. Former EC boss Charlotte Osei recently described politics in Ghana as being shrouded in pettiness. Looking at your field and your space with regards to radio, do you first and foremost agree with this, where you sit? And how do you toe that line, the thin line, in expressing your neutrality? Because you mentioned that it's people would want to attribute everything to NDC or MPP. When you talk to people in NDC trying to talk on issues regarding accountability, people on the other side might definitely think, okay, he's trying to, throw them a bone. How do you balance in there? How do you stay neutral?
First of all, I'm not neutral. I think I'm fair.
You're fair.
Neutrality is very subjective. There's a saying that is attributed to Archbishop Desmond Tutu. He says that in the quest for neutrality, if an elephant and a mouse are in a fight, and you say you're neutral, as far as the mouse is concerned, you're on the side of the elephant.
That's true. You're not saving me.
Yeah. So I just think that I try to be fair. I don't always get it right, but I believe that from the general conversations we have around, I probably have done more than 50% when it comes to fairness. I agree 100% with Madam Charlotte Osei. I agree with her also because she's somebody who would know.
Yes.
She's a lawyer. She used to be with the National Commission on Civic Education, and then she became Electoral Commissioner, or the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. So she has a wealth of experience when it comes to dealing with political parties, dealing with the people, interacting with people, civil society groups, and all of that. So I agree with that. There's a lot of pettiness in our politics. It is the reason why sometimes you would have some of us being the recipients of one anger here or the other anger there, or if our politics doesn't improve, we're going to be like this for a long time to come. I don't know how we'll do it, but the narrative has to change. The pettiness, the unbridled lust for power, we'll do anything that we can for it. It's what leads to the tensions, the anxiety, the fear, and the uncertainty. Why is it that every time we're going to cast a ballot or we're going to vote in this country, all of a sudden tensions are heightened? Why? Why can't we have a conversation that is decent, devoid of insults? Even if there are disagreements, Can't we have a much more measured way to disagree? Why do we impugn people's integrity? Why do we do that? It's all in a quest for power. Or that's all it is. And so there's a lot of pettiness. Also, when somebody thinks that, sometimes that's perception. I know in politics, perception is everything. When they say somebody perceives you to not be on my side, whether they are justified in their thinking or not, they just go straight ahead and actually sometimes use it against you. And so, well, that's where we are today. Maybe we need to have a broader conversation. Maybe we need to have a much more mature, open, measured conversation.
That's true.
Where people can say, look, these are the pitfalls, and so we need to be careful. Don't forget that we have underlying conditions as a country. We are naturally born divided. Ever, Ashanti, Ga, Northern, this, that, Has, Kotoko, Presby, Methodist, Pentecost, Roman, Anglican. So we already have our divisions, whether we like them or not.
That's true.
But as to whether we want to dwell on the things that divide us or want to dwell more on the things that unite us, it's entirely up to us.
Well, it's at the peril of our development.
Yes, and the kind of narrative that those are who we see as leaders, not just political leaders, religious leaders, leaders of various organizations.
Opinion leaders.
Opinion leaders. What is our narrative? Is the narrative Ghana? Is the narrative what divides us, or is the narrative what unites us? If we focus more on the narrative that unites us, it will permeate. It will take a while, but slowly it will get there. And everybody will begin to acknowledge, appreciate, and understand that Charlie, one Ghana for everybody. We should be able to disagree. If we don't disagree, then we have a problem.
Yes.
I can't agree with everything you say or do. You can't agree with everything I say.
That's true.
But can we congregate around what unites us more than what divides us? If we're able to do that, the pettiness in our politics will go down, the way Charlotte says, and I agree with. We would have less of that, and we'll have more of good things. So I agree with her, yes.
Big shouts going out to Benjamin Baden. Says, Uncle Kwame, keep up the good work. You're an inspiration to people like us. Keep on being loyal, because there will be surely a reward. Reward in the Amir shows what to be brave. So somewhere around 2016, I remember very well. That was the year I left university. I finished university, please. This is not like I just left them. Yeah. So somewhere around the presidential elections, it was rumored that you had been approached by the current government to take up a ministerial position. Minister of Information role. If this was true, why did you reject the offer?
Because it's not true.
It's not true at all.
I've heard this several times. At a point, they said I was going to be director of communications at the presidency. And someone actually did. You know how social media is like. Took a picture, not very flattering picture of me. I don't know what I was thinking that day. I looked like I was in all sorts of, Anyway, they did the story. But nobody approached me to be a minister. Nobody approached me to be director of communications at the presidency. Friends of friends raised those things. So somebody will come and say, Charlie, I take your name. Those conversations happen every time there's a change of government with all kinds of people, not just me. But nothing like that was offered.
So it is not true?
No, it's not. Nothing like that was offered.
But there were conversations?
There were conversations, yes.
Unofficial conversations?
Yes. Nobody had the authority of the president or, say, the vice president or any other person. The president says I should come and ask you
if you're going to do
that he wants to offer you this and would like your thoughts on it. No, nothing like that.
But if they had, would you have accepted it?
No, I would not.
Why?
I love what I do right now. I do honestly love what I do right now. I am happy to be a moderator of public opinion and discussion and conversation. I love it. I'm comfortable. I'm happy where I am now. Let's see how the rest of my life pans out. Maybe in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. You never know. Let's see how life evolves. Let's see which other offers or options that
may come up.
Okay. And then we'll look at it. Don't forget that Then I was under 50, now I'm over 50.
Yeah.
And then you don't know when the next offer will come. Maybe I've been nearing retirement. I'll be like, okay, let me now go and help with this or that, So.
All right. Now, let's move on to another thing that is, quite significant to the youth. How significant has the role of mass media been in advancing the developmental agenda of Ghana, and where it's falling short?
Where it's falling short? Sometimes maybe mass media is part of the reason why we're falling short.
Well,
but one thing I am happy with mass media, especially plurality of radio, television, the information superhighway, people now are a lot more aware. People now are a lot more educated. People are more exposed. And for me, it's a big plus. So unless you want to speak from a point of ignorance, you have so much information at a fingertip that you can easily access it and make good use of it. So yes, for those of us who do media, we are part of the problem, I agree. But we've provided a lot of solutions to people, to our people. And it's my hope that as we grow older, we evolve more, we develop more, a lot more people, the content that is provided will be content that is, a lot more refined, a lot more, palatable, less of the heat and more of the warmth will be provided so that people can plug in and, generally have a perception or a mindset that is more progressive towards all of us, towards the benefit of all of us, or for the progress of all of us. I think we haven't done badly, but we could do more. As the terminal report those days would say, there's more satisfactory, but more room for improvement.
I mean, a lot of things are being done, as you mentioned, but you touched on one thing: the mass media being the information highway. People would brands would just wake up, and for the sake of numbers, now that is a thing, trending. People wouldn't mind putting any sort of information out there, being it valid or not, no verification whatsoever. They would just pour it out there and confuse a huge chunk of our population. In the near future, what do you think are some of the things that can be done on a national level to ensure that these things are lowered?
My brother, I think that we would have to regulate radio and television.
Okay.
Not restrict.
Regulate.
But regulate. We have to be sincere that some of the things that we do on radio and television are so offensive that we have to find a way. We honestly have to find a way to sanitize it. The information superhighway is a different kettle of fish. That is the internet and the blogging, the blogosphere, and but the ones we can control, we should find a way to do something. Some sanity should come into broadcasting, radio and television especially. That is where my area is, and that is what bothers me. You watch music videos of semi-nude girls at 11 in the morning.
11 in the morning, afternoon, when kids are,
at 2 in the afternoon, and it bothers me a bit. You may think it's old school thinking, but wait till you start having your own children. You'd realize the danger. I grew up on Osofodase, Hawaii 5-0, Avenue A, Cantata, what have you. What are our children growing up on? What are the images they're watching on television? What are the voices? And what is the message the voices on radio are telling them? What are we building? What are we inculcating in them? It's extremely important for me. I think we've failed a bit on that. We need to find a way. Tafelache, anybody just gets up and is on radio because they have a good voice, or they have an opinion,
or they have the opportunity.
Any face is on television because they have good looks, they have a good voice, they have flair with language, or as you said, they have opportunity. Where are the standards? Where is the training? Where are those who should be in charge or should be responsible for it? This is a whole industry elsewhere.
On its own.
How come it's so loosely knit? That, for me, is a bit of a bother. Somebody said, probably because you went through the mail, you see it that way. I said, no, but you see, it has to be done. What has to be done has to be done. If you're on radio, on television, or you're a blogger, whatever, there's maturity, there's professionalism. These two things should guide all of us. What is wrong is wrong. What is right is right. What you cannot say in your mother's presence, you should not say on radio. You shouldn't.
That's true.
You shouldn't. What you know is offensive to your mother or to your wife, or you don't open your mouth and say that on radio, you know. But unfortunately, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And as I mentioned earlier, those of us practitioners should engage in a little introspection, self-development, introspection, maturity. We should let those little things guide us. Owners of radio stations, TV stations, media outlets should also find a way to offer some training. Training doesn't have to be go abroad. Training could be, let's take YFM. Well, give us a small room, put 20 of your staff there. Let's give them some basics.
Radio etiquette.
Ethics for the next 1 month, you know. So when you go off, asking goes off, okay, you go off at 2 o'clock, so you're booked for 2:30 to 3:30, just 1 hour. Slowly you inculcate those values. For me, it's worrisome, very worrisome.
Let's touch on another thing that, has really worried all of us, COVID-19. I mean, it came when we least expected. I mean, it took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
How do you see, how do you see our country's response to the outbreak? I mean, from the presidency to the person on the street to us. What do you think about how we received or how we're responding to this virus?
First of all, COVID has taken everybody by surprise. I don't know of any country that has been able to truthfully say, I have COVID on lockdown or I have COVID under control. It's locked us all down. It's novel. So definitely, we're all scrambling in the dark to find a way around it. So far, our numbers are climbing. That's the scary part. But I would defer to those who know better than I do. Those who know the science of pandemics, those who have the data, those who are well trained for it. For me, they are the ones I defer to. And so far, they'll tell you, look, it's a pandemic, yes. It is dangerous, yes. But these are the protocols you should follow. I noticed when I came here, I was tested for temperature, I was given water to wash your hands. I was given a sanitizer after that. There's a glass screen between us. So we can only try. And for me, it is not a political matter. It's a matter of life and death. It goes beyond. I believe the government has done its bit. Am I impressed? To some extent, yes, I am. There are still shortfalls. And I'd be rather happy if those shortfalls are addressed as quickly as we can. I know that a private sector fund is doing something at the Guy's Hospital.
Yes.
They ran out of funds. They're looking for money. I don't know why the COVID-19 fund managers should just go give them the money. I think they need like 7 million cedis or something like that. If we can afford it, we should give it to them to finish. Because we're in a crisis. But it looks as if slowly people are learning to live with it. But that is also dangerous.
Very.
Because the moment we decide that, we can live with it, then the fear begins to dissipate. But we need a bit of that to keep us grounded, to keep us focused, so we understand that this is no joke. You know, I am scared, if you ask me, especially because I'm a very exposed person.
Yes.
I'm out there all the time.
All the time.
So I'm scared, and I think everybody should be. But so far, I would say so good. I'll just say so far, not bad. Let's just hope that it doesn't get out of hand. I spoke to a doctor, somebody who knows better than I do, who also has experience in public health management in more than 2 countries across the world.
Okay.
Ghanaian guy. He says, Kwami, I think our numbers will go to about 30, 35, 40,000.
That's a projection.
And at the time, we're about 9,000.
Okay.
I said, are you serious? He said, I'm telling you. If you look at the world trends, you look at how we are going. At the time, Africa was patting itself on the back.
Yes, we did.
There were all kinds of theories
myths,
about the heat, the sun,
Yeah.
blah, blah, the hand of God, and what have you, the food. Melanin and all of that. But he says, we'll go. Maybe up to about 40,000. I was scared at the time. I thought it wasn't possible. But here we are. We've gone past 14.
Way beyond that.
Yeah, we've gone past 14,000. And so every once in a while when I'm in touch with him and I ask him, so, my brother, I tell you, when we reach like 35, 40, that's when for panic. We are panicking right now anyway. So it behoves on us all. Let the narrative continue. Let them keep drumming it down our ears about safety protocols and all of that. And prayerfully we'll get through.
Right. We have some more coming up, guys. We're still expecting your questions for Kwami Sefa Kayi. I don't know why I'm tempted to call you Honorable Kwami Sefa Kayi.
Please don't.
Anyway, send it through WhatsApp 0202222073. The hashtag is Wiley the Boss Series. I can't football baby see you sukre jai him. Chairman, what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
I mean, apart from the fact that you derive a lot of fun from what you do as your profession, on the side.
On the side, what do I do for fun? I used to play tennis until I put on too much weight.
He plays tennis too. That's why he's super excited. Ganj, yes.
He looks.
I know most of the guys used to play at Sakuma.
Sakuma, that's true.
I was a junior champion like somewhere in 91.
So then this guy, he will beat me.
He was a pro.
Yeah, those guys who learned how to play when they were young.
Yeah.
I started playing tennis when I was about 33 or 34 years old. But those who played, I mean, he was a junior champion.
Yeah.
So he knows the technique, the skills, the tricks.
He'll beat you.
So I used to play tennis until I had a little problem with my left knee. So I kind of...
Injury, them I'll call back.
Actually, professional injury. But I think I'll go back. Tennis was a game I love.
Okay.
It's like a high. The moment it gets to you, you can never leave it. So I think I'll go back. I'd go back and play a bit.
Our job is inseparable with music. I mean, it goes hand in hand. I don't want to ask your favorite song, but I mean, when you're on radio, what kind of songs put you in the mood? I mean,
inspirational, all kinds. Sometimes when you say inspirational, everybody thinks about gospel. Me, I do Bob Marley. I do Amachi Dede. I do Lumba. I do Kojenchi. I do George Darko. Those are the local artists I do. But Bob Marley obviously is a world-class act. I like inspirational songs. I like songs that have a story to tell. I like songs that appeal to something inside you.
That's true.
I like songs that have a storyline, lyrics, something you can learn from. I love Walk by JK from Amanziba. That song is several years old, but I still find it relevant. So I like songs like
I think at the point it was your sick tune.
Yeah, it was my sick tune for a long time. I'll bring it back one of these days.
Okay, all right.
I've shelved it a bit. I'll
on the side. Okay. 17 right after 2. What we're going to do is take a short break. Chairman General is still with us in the building. If you do have questions for him, Mr. Wiley, the board series on Y107.9 FM. These next set of songs are for him. I mean, if you enjoy them too, kindly text us on WhatsApp 02022 220738.
YFM.
That is Minyampo in the Baghdadi Lumba. One of Chairman General's favorites. He's right here with us in the building. I'm still picking 2 questions from you guys. So 0202222073 get yours in. Be a part of the conversation. Chairman, aside your media work, you run Kokroko Foundation, a charitable organization that has been touching the lives of many for years. How did you start this organization and what motivated you to do it?
Well, it started as a conversation with between friends. Dennis Educhum was the programs manager of Kokroko Charities. And myself, we're having a drink one day. And before that, I had helped the Christian Council microfinance organization to raise funds for a dialysis center. And so much later, Dennis and I having a drink, and he says, look, let's do something with your network. Let's ride on your back. Let's do something. You've helped others to do it. So we started talking. We said, okay, what can we do? And then the idea of infant incubators came up. And it was a long and hard road. Trying to raise funds wasn't easy. Our projection was 100 incubators. We went to the topmost, or one of the most important hospital equipment suppliers in the world. There's a brand called Draeger in Germany. Okay. And go high quality hospital equipment, and they gave us a good discount. We started, the target was 100, that's $1 million with one at 10,000 CDs, $10,000, I beg your pardon. We managed to do 35. We ran out of funds. Wow. And it's not been easy. But we're happy that we've been able to give 35 infant incubators to some of the most far-flung places and some of the most needy places. We did Navrongo, we did Wa, we did Ho, we did Tamale, we did Bolga, we did Kofodia, we've done Accra, we've done Kumasi.
Yeah, I think you were at Konfanochi.
We're at Konfanochi. We're at Agogo. And so we've done quite a few places. It's spread out, even though there's only 35 out of 100. We've managed to spread it out a bit, and we are happy with the results. We're happy with the look on people's faces, the appreciation from the health workers, the doctors, the nurses, and even some of the mothers, that have come in there and have had to use these incubators. I'm just hoping that COVID would give us time to go back to, when COVID eventually leaves, we may, revive the incubator project again. It's very dear to me.
That's a good job. That's a good job on that. Now, you've been the mouthpiece of MTN's Heroes of Change project for years now. How did it all begin for you, and what are some of the most memorable moments you've had since you joined the project?
I was the first presenter for the MTN Heroes of Change, so I've been there from season 1 to season 5. Some amazing stories. People do good things and nobody gets to hear about them. So the MTN Heroes of Change has provided a platform. When you hear some of the stories, some of them are so touching, probably brings you to tears. And I think MTN Ghana Foundation has done a good job with the MTN Heroes of Change, and aptly titled Heroes of Change. These are people who are bringing change into their communities. Most of them do it on the quiet. Nobody even knows about them. If you look at those who have won the ultimate prizes over time, Dr. Inchira, who was the first person, I can't remember everybody's name, they should forgive me, but they do things that directly affect people.
That's true.
And they are not looking for recognition. And some of them don't even know they've been nominated until the MTN Ghana Foundation gets in touch with them. And all kinds of things, from health, education, economic empowerment. It's one of the biggest, how would I say, corporate social responsibility initiatives that I think any organization has embarked on in this country, the MTN Heroes of Change. And I think they've done a good job. It's an earth talent. It has told the story of the good things that people are doing away from the cameras and away from all the noise. And some of the stories would really shock you. Some of the stories will shock you. I remember the one, I think season 4, I hope I'm right, out of 3 or 4, the lady who emerged the eventual winner, she's deaf and dumb. Yeah, she's deaf and dumb.
And she's providing help to people.
But she's providing help to other kids who are going through the same thing like her, trying to put up a school, a skills training and learning center. It's very touching.
And these are things behind the scenes, things people don't really know.
When she set out to do it, she didn't do it because she wanted recognition.
Yes.
She didn't do it because she, these are the real life, and it's happening right here in Ghana. It's not as if it's some far-flung place that we go and bring these people from. And so it's a very touching thing. Very, very.
There's one question I keep seeing through the ones I'm getting from our listeners. Tapa, that is his name, and Ni Ashaima on Twitter, as well as Wakasa Ado. They want to find out what happened to your acting career.
It died.
It died.
It died. It died. I mean, journalism took over full time, especially radio. And so my acting career, to a very, very, very large extent, has taken a very long break, probably never to come back again. But you never know. In
Just
life,
maybe.
they say never say never.
Yeah, but you
I
said
remember
after
Shelley
50
Frimpongmans who drew me out, I think, in 2008 to do Scorned. Before then, I hadn't done any acting like 10 years. But after Scorned, a few offers came up after Scorned because everybody thought, oh, he's back. But I said, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. It's a phase of my life that I think I've paid my dues in that area. Let me move on and do other things.
Kanai inside Ashaman says, how do you deal with criticism from people?
You know, when you work in the public space and you expect 100% approval rating, then you don't understand what you're doing. So for me, that is one of my guiding principles. Not everybody would approve of what you do.
That's true.
Not everybody likes you. Somebody just doesn't like you because of who you are. So don't go out there expecting 100% approval ratings. You won't get it. Some criticize you just for criticism's sake. Some criticize you out of ignorance. But there are some who criticize you and have a lot you can learn from. So when criticism is thrown at me, I weigh it. And of course, I'd shred what I don't need. I'll pocket what I need. And I'll walk around feeling better. You know, because criticism that is good shapes you, makes you a better person. And so for me, I don't mind. I mean, I've come from this thing telling you that not everybody will like what you do or who you are. So I don't expect 100% approval ratings. There's something I said some time ago, somebody didn't like it. I said, I may not be perfect, but I'm not fake. So
You're real. You just say it as it is.
yeah, so it's all right. It's all good.
I mean, when you say it, they have to deal with how they see
it's
it.
all good.
What has been the single most biggest challenge in your rise to the top, and how did you manage or go about it? I mean,
You know, we've come back to this thing about rise to the top, and that I am not at any top.
okay, where you are, your career.
It's an evolution, my brother.
Yeah.
I think that I have evolved over time. I've stayed relevant, yes. But if you say you're at the top, then it means that whap him. You don't want to
Go beyond.
aspire. You don't want to look beyond this, either in the same field of endeavor or in other areas. You know. So I will not say that I'm at the top. I'd say that I am in a place better than I was the other time or yesterday, and I hope to be in a place better than I am today. What has made me relevant, or what is it that has kept me there? I said it earlier: dedication, devotion, maturity, professionalism. You need to understand what you're doing, and you take it seriously, and work hard at it. It's only in the dictionary that you have success before work, as in S before W.
Okay.
It's a lot of hard work.
that was fast. Did you experience any challenge in all this? I mean, one thing that was challenging for you, something you went about? I mean, in all this?
I think one of the biggest challenges for me was in 2000, the decision to move from Radio Gold. You know, it was, is this the right thing to do? You're going into uncharted territory for you. Are you sure you can survive it? Do it, don't do it. Hold on, don't hold on. So it was tough. But of course, 20 years down the line is history. But other challenges, of course, have included points where you probably have an offer to leave the Despite Group.
Yeah.
And 2 major offers came. Very big ones. And you ask yourself, stay, don't stay. If you stay, would it be the right decision you're taking? If you don't stay, would you regret it later? So those challenges will come. But as I mentioned earlier, if you're also a very measured person, you don't jump at everything that comes at you.
That's true.
And if you have a good, quote-unquote, kitchen cabinet, you know, people you can bounce things off and believe that you will get an honest feedback
from.
It will help you to take make a decision on all these challenges that come. But you see, life is what it is. It evolves. So challenges will come every day.
It will come. And it will definitely move.
It will come every day.
Or something bigger might even come up.
Yes. But you see, you may not be able to spot it. It may be big, but it will come in a small package. So you're not too sure, should I not? It's life. You win some, you lose some.
I'm really learning a lot from this conversation, honestly. One thing, globally, issues of race and inequality have dominated the headlines these past, few weeks. Are you optimistic the current, agitations will cause a significant shift in the manner in which issues regarding blacks or black people are handled? Is there going to be any change?
I doubt it. I think the agitation will go on for a while. I don't know how long we can sustain this. It might taper off. You know, this black-white thing precedes all of us. It's several hundreds of years old. Sometimes we should ask ourselves as black people, did we contribute to this or not? To some extent we did.
We did.
We sold us into slavery, did we not? Nobody buys what is not on sale. So we're part of the problem. Now, after we acknowledge that we are part of the problem, now let's begin to look at solutions. And street agitations, yes, good. Would it change a lot? I doubt it. I doubt it. It's been going on for years. I'm not sure how long it would take to finally have. And sometimes you ask yourself, what is it that we're looking for? Do we have a clear idea what we're looking for? Or is this just a bandwagon effect that, you know, let's fight for black liberation?
Yeah.
What is black liberation? Do we have clear-cut targets, junctions that when we get to, we know that target?
This is where we are.
Yes. Or is it just a spontaneous emotional outburst? You know, George Floyd's death sparked another wave. You notice that it's tapering off slowly.
Yes.
Yes. After a while, probably we just wither away and we'll come back to normal. So I'm excited about the conversation it's created. I'm excited about the agitation by black people all over the world. But for how long? You remember Rodney King?
Yes.
What happened after Rodney King in 91? You know. So probably this is another wave that will blow over with time. I don't think that it will change anything dramatically. Because out of all these agitations, there's no clear direction beyond protests.
Beyond that, what happens?
Yeah, there's no clear direction beyond protest. And we don't have a leader that has emerged as charismatic as, say, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, who probably will be there, okay, in all of the agitation, especially in the US, which is where it all began, this leader has emerged and is going to drive an agenda that will be different.
Exactly.
A revolution that will change the status.
A longer lasting agenda.
No, we don't. I saw Reverend Al Sharpton the other day. Fantastic speech. I mean, he's a good orator, you know. I saw one of his clips, about a 4-minute clip. And of course, he made all the right sound bites. But to what end?
But after that, what happens?
Yes, exactly. What happens afterwards? We've heard about these race things, but I don't know if there's a clear agenda that we can all follow. I doubt it. Look at our country, Ghana. We complain, don't we?
We do.
Yes, then what happens? We're in this country when somebody threw acid on his staff, a foreigner. What happened? Yeah. We're here when somebody, I don't want to upset anybody's lunch. But
when you
threw
put
spit in
pepper,
yes. So what has happened? So sometimes it's like, it's a wave.
A wave of awareness.
And then it tapers off. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think so.
Beyond radio, what is next for the Chairman General? I mean, let us in on the future.
I live a day at a time.
Okay.
Like everybody else, I have plans, I have ambitions, I have hopes. But I like to live a day at a time. That way you're less disappointed or less expectant or less bitter. You know, let's see how life pans out. Let's see how it goes. Don't forget, I just turned 50. Officially, I said this morning, so officially I'm an old man, but officially also I have 10 years on the clock if I was working in the civil service or in the public
to retirement.
service. So let's give ourselves time.
Final lap.
Larry King walked away at 74. He walked away with a check of about what, $50 million?
Yeah.
The way I envied him, Charlie.
Maybe yours might be double.
I said, shit, Charlie. He left the Larry King show with like $50-something million.
Dollars.
Well, you know, walk away. Thank you very much. He was what, 74 at the
74,
time.
yeah.
I don't want to be 74 if I have $50 million. But on a more serious note, I'd like to, you know, weigh my options as you go. Opportunities come every day. And so you don't want to rush into doing anything. You take your time. I have a family to look after. I have 5 kids to take care of. I have a beautiful wife to look after. I have my mother. I have my friends. There's so much. And I'm still enjoying what I do. So don't rush me into retirement.
Okay.
I ain't going anywhere.
Easy does it one step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time.
So one of my bosses texted in. I mean, he wants to find out. He was supposed to send this earlier. Please find out what made him move to Peace, especially when Radio Gold was established and Peace was unknown. What did they tell him to convince him?
Looking back, it was a risk I took. Adventure.
Okay.
Going, especially walking away from what was considered the best things at the time. Walking away from an English-speaking station, which was the norm at the time.
The hallmark.
The benchmark, to an Akan radio station. It was a risk. 20 years down the line, it worked. So as I told you earlier, life is full of risks.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Opportunities come and go. You may pick one that will become big because you remember I mentioned that some of the big things come in small parts.
Small size, yes.
It came as a small, insignificant parcel. What happened today?
Wow. It's been a journey. I mean, I enjoyed
Long
every bit of
and
the
hard
conversation.
road,
Yes,
but we're here.
We're here. It is what it is. I think that's the new slogan. It is what it is. Chairman, before we wrap up, what words of encouragement will you share with young people across the country? I mean, people who find themselves in all kinds of fields, people who have different kinds of interests. I mean, people who are confused, people who don't know the next step to take.
Follow your dream. If you're in school, grab education as much as you can. No matter what, education. If you're in school, make the best out of it. If you're out of school, follow your dream. I know it's easier said than done, but I followed my dream. I'm not saying that everybody would end up like me. I'd rather wish that everybody who's listening to me will end up better than me. That by the time you're age 50, you have a better story to tell. Where's Shangri-La?
Shangri-La's over there, yeah.
Okay, that's Shangri-La.
Yeah.
We used to walk from East Legon to GBC, and there were trees in front of Shangri-La, and some coconut sellers be there like that. So when you say, bash akushu,
Once you just go.
but today I drive in an air-conditioned car.
Yeah.
Things don't happen overnight. Let a lot of young people remember that. Things don't happen overnight. It is a long and hard road. Apply yourself, work diligently, believe in yourself, work hard. It will happen. And as I said, you're not in a race with anybody. Life is not a race. If you're racing with anybody, you're racing with yourself. But it should not also make you feel complacent. It's a long and hard road. And you're better. But you can only say that after you've crossed a certain threshold. Don't let anybody make you believe that there's quick money. I don't know. Maybe there is, but I haven't seen it before. It's a long and hard road. Apply yourself. Believe in God. Apply yourself. Work hard.
Wow.
If you get lucky, the Lord will bless you.
If not, you still live.
If not, keep at it. Keep on moving. You're not a tree.
Thank you so much, Chairman General.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We appreciate your time.
I hope it was worth it.
Yes, I enjoyed it. And the very many people out there enjoyed it as well. I mean,
Thank you.
It's been an awesome experience. Thank you so much. Wish you the very best in the rest of your career.
I need it.
10 years. And we pray that if you don't get the $50 million, at least some 50 million Ghana cedis for Fitu Pai.
And you're bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Chairman General, Kwami Sefa Kayi. If you want to find bits and bits of what we discussed, kindly get on YouTube right now, Y107.9 FM. There are infographics spread across our social media pages right now. Everywhere. Anywhere you go right now, you can find info on all that he said. If you want to listen back, kindly log on to www.yfmghana.com. All the information is there. Special edition of the Y Leaderboard series, graced beautifully by the Chairman General. 40 minutes right after 2. Let's sing in this one once again. Daddy Lumba.
This is YFM.